remain standing, and we'll ask our guests to remain standing momentarily.
Color guard. Post. Colors. Set. Present. Arch.
I would ask at this time that you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
For which it stands, one nation, under liberty and justice for all.
I want to be part of the service today. We are thankful that we are able to gather together and comfort and console one another. We ask that you bless this service today. May it bring honor and glory to you, and may it bring comfort to the families.
The members of the East Montgomery County Honor Guard for posting the colors. Gary Southern for our invocation. I'd like to invite everyone to this year's memorial service. My name is Jimmy Williams. Many of you may know me. I'm the Montgomery County Fire Marshal. I've also been a firefighter here in Montgomery County since 1980. I've been with North Montgomery County and the Magnolia Bend Fire Department, made fires with probably every department in the county, and have met many of you have also worked in EMS, both in the field and in our dispatch office. Just briefly, we're going to talk a little bit about why we're here, what we can do to honor our fallen firefighters, our EMS workers, and emergency services personnel. More to protect ourselves and to give our families as many years as possible with us as firefighters, EMS workers, and as law enforcement. We owe it to ourselves. Many of you have heard this. Our goal each day in the station is to be sure that we all go home. And that's part of why we're here, because not all of us each year are able to go home. It is a dangerous profession. Law enforcement and EMS and the fire service, the most dangerous professions on the face of the earth. We lose more than 100 firefighters every year. Last year that number was 114 American firefighters and 33 EMS personnel that died in the line of duty. We talk about the service and the sacrifice that we make for our communities. We're away from our families, and we do the job that we love. And as firefighters and EMS personnel, we must serve our community, and at the same time, we must be prepared to do what's right by ourselves and by our families so that we do go home each night. Again, I said in 2008, 114 American firefighters and 33 EMS personnel died in the line of duty. The last fatality was on New Year's Eve. And firefighter Richard Montgomery of the Pisgah, Mississippi Volunteer Fire Department died while fighting a house fire in Marietta, Mississippi. That's in far northeast Mississippi near Georgia. Captain Montgomery had just exited a burning home when he collapsed of a heart attack and died. And that tells us a little bit about the major cause. One of the major causes of firefighter deaths and injury every year is medical conditions, heart attacks, strokes. Captain Montgomery left behind a family of firefighters and a family at home. And we want to learn something from each of these fatalities that we have. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened to our firefighters and EMS personnel last year, in the hopes that as we honor their memory today, we're going to take home a little bit of information or a little bit of an incentive to do our job better, to take better care of ourselves and our co-workers, and do our best to make sure that we don't add any more names to that plaque here in Montgomery County. In 2008, there were only 4 fewer deaths than in 2007. Since 1976, we've averaged more than 100 firefighters each year killed in the line of duty. At the same time, the number of structure fires has decreased dramatically, yet firefighters still die at the same rate. Since 1986, fire departments in America have responded from going from nearly 2.5 million fires annually to just 1.5 million now. Our numbers will go down, but we continue to die at the same rate, and in some cases even more than we did back then. The lowest that we've ever been was in 1992 at 77, and again we stand at 114. EMS. We are losing more EMS personnel each year. We can see those figures as our EMS services get older, and we have more of us that have more years of service, more health problems. As our freeways gets busier, we're going to see our EMS service suffer more and more casualties each year for the same reasons that our fire service and law enforcement does. We have to take care of ourselves as a team, and we work together real well as a team on the freeway, and we need to work together a little bit better sometimes in our training and in our station life to take care of our bodies so that we can return home at the end of our shifts. The vast majority of line of duty deaths are preventable. Many, as I said, occur to heart attacks. Many of the rest of our deaths are attributable to motor vehicle accidents and collisions. The failure to use seat belts, for example, among firefighters. It's at epidemic proportions, and each year it contributes to our yearly numbers due to accidents and rollovers. One of the main goals that we talk about in the fire service today is to reduce the number of fatalities by 25% in the next 5 years and by the 50% within the next 10 years. So how do we do that as firefighters and EMS workers? It seems like a lot of work and an unattainable goal, but I want to share some statistics with you. The leading cause associated with line of duty deaths in 2008, 44% were due to heart attack or stroke. So there's a number right there that we as firefighters and EMS in our station life, in our daily duties, we can take care of ourselves and we can do our part to reduce that number. Trauma, the second leading cause of death. Asphyxia and burns among firefighters. Between that and trauma, 47% death to firefighters and EMS personnel. Firefighters under the age of 35, many of you are there, you're more likely to die from trauma. Beyond 35, firefighters and EMS workers, as you can imagine, and this is kind of near and dear to me nowadays, we tend to die more of medical-related problems. We haven't taken care of ourselves like we should. We may have stresses that we don't address in our daily lives, and we have those medical problems that contribute to our death rate. We see that as we reach that age of 35 to 40 and above, and we stay in the emergency services, our deaths due to medical causes rise steadily. Affiliation. Let's talk just a little bit about who these workers are and why they're dying and what agencies. We would think that the majority of firefighters that were killed in the line of duties were in big cities. 57% were members of local or municipal volunteer fire agencies, including combination departments. With one or two exceptions, every department in this county is a combination of paid staff and volunteers. While full-time career personnel, and we have many here, you account for 1/3 of the firefighter fatalities, you comprise only 26% of the American fire service. So you can see that you die at a rate disproportionate to your representation in the fire service. So what does that tell us? That each of us is at risk regardless of our training, our certification, whether or not we receive a paycheck. Numerically, more volunteer firefighters are killed than career personnel, many due to accidents. Motor vehicle accidents account for 20 to 25% of firefighter deaths over the past 20 years. Annually, 1/4 of firefighters who die in motor vehicle accidents were killed in privately owned vehicles, responding to the station, responding to training, incidents such as that. Many others were involved in apparatus rollovers. More firefighters were killed in tanker rollovers and tanker collisions than in engines and ladders combined. So that tells us there where we have some training to do. 27% of fatalities amongst fire and EMS workers, they were killed when they were ejected from their vehicle, and only 21% were reportedly wearing their seat belts prior to the collision. So there's an area that we as emergency service workers can address. Training. One of the things that has surprised me in the past few years, we do more and more training. We do better training. We have better equipment to train with. But in the last decade, approximately 6% of our firefighter fatalities occurred during training activities. That's larger proportions than in any previous decade. These training fatalities resulted from physical fitness, equipment and apparatus drills, and live fire exercises. We need to take care of our bodies, but we need to be smart. In 2009, many of you may have heard, Texas experienced our first firefighter line of duty deaths when two Kilgore firefighters, Corey Galloway and Kyle Perkins, fell from a ladder truck during a training exercise to their deaths. And one last thing we need to think about as firefighters and EMS workers is multiple fatality incidents. We work together well as a team. We train as a team. We go into scenes and situations as a team. And sometimes that action, we lead ourselves into these situations and we go in after others and we tend to get killed or injured as a team. We do everything together. Sometimes we take risks that we should not. So what can we do to honor the fallen firefighters from our country? What can we learn to make ourselves safer and to do more for our own families and ultimately for our own communities? Because we can serve longer. We can do a better job. We talked about firefighter fitness. Remember, if we reduce the firefighter deaths due to heart attacks and stroke, we can reach our goal of reducing line of duty deaths between 25 and 50% over the next 10 years. So as firefighters and EMS workers, you should ask yourself, does my department have a training program? Does it have a physical fitness program? Do we offer medical evaluation to our volunteers as well as our career staff? Is there follow-up before we begin those exercise programs? For fire and EMS workers, law enforcement as well, risk versus reward scenarios. Each department should have a policy about what is risk and what is not acceptable risk. We don't risk lives to save property. We risk a little to save lives, and that should be our goal and our goal alone. I mentioned 25% of us die in vehicle accidents every year. When those fatalities come in, that statistic stays constant. So what does that tell us? Driver training. And if we're doing driver training for the chief officers out there, if you have a tanker apparatus in your department, that's the apparatus you need to have the most training on, not the ladder truck, not the engine. That tanker is the most dangerous vehicle you have. In a rural department, that's an essential part of your training. We should review our non-emergency responses. Each department should have a policy. EMS and fire, we do to a degree, but is it formal? Is it standard between organizations? When do we respond to emergency, and when is it appropriate to respond at a slower pace and don't risk our lives as well as the lives of citizens? Seat belts. Every department should have a policy mandating the use of seat belts on all responses, emergency, non-emergency, returning to the station. And last but not least, some new things that we're learning. We do a lot of work on the freeway. The freeway is a dangerous place to be. We've had some accidents involving fire trucks. We've had several in law enforcement where law enforcement officers have been injured. We need to be thinking about those things. EMS and fire.
That's the first thing they said. You boys need coats. Yeah. So we were all right till it started.
Our apparatus. I'd submit to you that as firefighters, we play the largest role in scene safety on the freeway because we can protect our apparatus and our places. So again, that's up to us as firefighters to ensure that everyone on the scene is able to operate safely. And last but not least, to make sure that everyone on the scene has proper reflecting clothing.
Yes, that you bless this service today.
Each department should be
May it
aware
bring
of
honor
that
and glory to
that
you, and may it bring
information
comfort to the families.
available to its personnel. Again, I want to close by just saying that each year we do this, and I want to think of it as an opportunity not only to recognize those that have passed in the prior year for their service, and we want to do that, but we want to learn a little bit from this information that we have, from what happens to our fellow firefighters and EMS workers. And we want to carry that information back. Not every firefighter can attend this service, but each department has someone here that has attended and can carry this information back to your fellow firefighters and EMS workers. So with that, I want to ask each of you to join me in just a moment of silence to think about the personnel that we've lost in our community and across the nation in the last year, and to honor them and to think about ways that we can do our job safely and honor them as we can make our job safely. It's grown a little bit since that time, but I'd like to ask Dan to come up and say a few words about his involvement in the fire service.
Mine's not near as long as what Jimmy's is. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see some of the fathers, the old-time guys. It's good to see the sons of the fathers and how the fire service is handed down through the family. It's special. There's no greater cost to the fire service than losing one of our own. It's only right that we take time to remember those that we've lost, to volunteer for a job that most wouldn't consider, to run toward a situation everybody else runs from. The early years of the fire service in Montgomery County was made up of trucks that had tanks welded onto the back of them. They had pumps to pump the water sometime, and they did the best they could. I know when we made the fire investigations, I could just follow the water leaking from the tanker to the scene. So back them early days, things were tight. Turnout gear was a pair of blue jeans, a coat if they were lucky, no boots, no gloves, maybe a helmet. The money used to run the fire departments at that time came from donations and fundraisers. And on several instances, I've seen firemen reach into their pocket, pay for the gasoline themselves. We've come a long way in 27 years. The grassroots worked for fire service formed 5 districts, emergency service districts, which allowed the departments to collect money needed to function at the capacity and rate we're doing now. When you look at the fire service today in Montgomery County, you see first-class equipment, see men that are highly trained and have the proper turnout gear. We should not forget those who came before us, men like Bob Harris, J.B. Vaughn, Russell Watson, Ben Buchanan, Philip Taylor, Anthony Goodney, Bob Yancey, Charlie Flowers, David Sims, David Cox, Dave Miller, Jerry Mangum, and hundreds of other guys that have walked where you're walking now. We also have to appreciate the political factors in the county, the county judge, commissioners, and all the men who serve on the ESD boards and fire boards in the past. To continue the challenge is giving all those who gave so much the respect they deserve. Thank you.
Speaker will be Chief Leonard McKeska, President of the Montgomery County Fire Chiefs Association.
We'd like to honor the fallen firefighters of the nation for 2008, as well as the state of Texas and Montgomery County.
As Jimmy said, last year we lost 114 brothers and sister firefighters and 33 brother and sister EMS workers. On the list of each state, we lost somebody. Alabama, 2 firefighters. Arizona, 2 firefighters, 6 EMS workers. Arkansas, 1 firefighter. California, 8 firefighters. Colorado, 3 firefighters. Delaware, 1 firefighter, 1 EMS personnel. Florida, 2 firefighters. Georgia, 2 firefighters. Illinois, 6 firefighters, 3 EMS workers. Indiana, 2 firefighters, 4 EMS personnel. Connecticut, 1 firefighter, 2 EMS personnel. Louisiana, 3 firefighters. Maine, 1 firefighter. Maryland, 3 firefighters, 4 EMS personnel. Michigan, 2 firefighters, 2 EMS personnel. Minnesota, 1 firefighter. Missouri, 6 firefighters. Mississippi, 3 firefighters. Montana, 5 firefighters. New Jersey, 2 firefighters. New York, 1 firefighter. Correction, that's New Mexico, 1 firefighter. New York, 7 firefighters, 1 EMS worker. North Carolina, 11 firefighters. Ohio, 6 firefighters. Oklahoma, 1 firefighter. Oregon, 9 firefighters. Pennsylvania, 9 firefighters, 1 EMS worker. Rhode Island, 2 firefighters. South Carolina, 1 firefighter. Virginia, 1 firefighter. Washington, 2 firefighters. West Virginia, 1 firefighter. Wisconsin, 2 firefighters, 3 EMS personnel. The U.S. Virgin Islands, 1 firefighter. The state of Texas lost 4 firefighters, 6 EMS workers. State of Texas, line of duty deaths. Chief Robert Knight, Teague Volunteer Fire Department, Teague, Texas. Fire Engineer Roger Dennis, San Antonio Fire Department, San Antonio, Texas. Pilot Robert Goss, Valley Air Care, Harlingen, Texas. Flight Nurse Raul Garcia, Valley Air Care, Harlingen, Texas. Flight Paramedic Michael Sanchez, Valley Air Care, Harlingen, Texas. Firefighter Dale Grider, DeKalb Fire Department, DeKalb, Texas. Firefighter Joe Jordan, Picton Pine Forest Volunteer Fire Department, Picton, Texas. 2008, line of duty deaths was pilot, this is for Montgomery County, Pilot Wayne Kirby, PHI Air Med 12, Bryan, Texas. Flight Paramedic Stephanie Waters, PHI Air Medical 12, Bryan, Texas. Flight Nurse Jana Bishop, PHI Air Med 12, Bryan, Texas. Our past line of duty death firefighters from Montgomery County, Paul Skanes, Lake Conroe Fire Department. Joe Novosad Sr., Porter Fire Department. Curtis Davison, Montgomery County EMS. Gary Staley, Porter Fire Department. Charlie Flowers, New Caney Fire Department. We have one active firefighter, Assistant Fire Chief Will Wilkerson, Conroe Fire Department, Conroe, Texas. At this time, we're going to have a radio call for FireCom in Montgomery County Hospital District for a 7-1 to honor these fallen members. He's calling for the message? Me too. Honor guard to alarm.
Montgomery County recognizes today as Emergency Services Memorial Day. We honor the 114 firefighters and the 33 EMS personnel from across the nation who died in the line of duty in 2008. We offer special recognition to the 10 fire and EMS personnel from Texas who died in the line of duty, and the 4 members from Montgomery County who died while either on active duty or who were retired. They were fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters. They dedicated their lives to serving others, and we honor them today, the Emergency Services Memorial, the Lone Star Convention Center. May their families be comforted. The fire and EMS communities of Montgomery County honor you at this time.
Can you relate to CC1 to proceed inbound on flyby? Down, 12 o'clock.
Set. Arms. Order. Arms.
We made almost today to remember all of these men and women who've given their lives for our safety and for the safety of others. We also ask that you would be with all of our fire departments and our EMS throughout Montgomery County, throughout the state of Texas and across our land. We ask for your protective hand upon us. And as these men and women go out to serve and protect and to rescue every day, we ask that you would just bless their families, give them the strength that they need to be able to see their family members come home with them. And we pray you go with us our separate ways. Just know that we're grateful to you that there's a better place, that place is prepared for those who put their faith and trust in you, and know that there's no more pastors and those who meet the rest of the village. And we'll only be in these days. We're grateful for those who continue to take care of us and watch over us and love us. And even those in our community don't understand the heart of these men and women as they dedicate themselves to serving one another. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Honor guard, would you retrieve the colors?